So today's Sunday and I wanted to do a massive bake, like meal prep baking day. And I just started and I realized my husband drank all the milk. This man can go through a gallon of milk in literally a day. So I thought we had milk. And so I'm literally sprinting to the store to go get milk. And I'll probably get extra butter just to be safe. I'm making chocolate chip muffins, banana muffins, pancakes, egg sandwiches, English muffins. What else? We're gonna make chili today. We're gonna make, I think I'm gonna make chili! Chicken. I make this breaded chicken. So there's a lot on the agenda that I wanna get made, and I'm gonna take you along with me. We've already started the chocolate chip muffins, and then I realized we were out of milk. So here we go. Me and my little helper just got home from the grocery store. I got a bunch of stuff to make all of these things that I want to make today. So let's see how it goes. I spent all day Sunday in the kitchen because doing a little extra work on Sunday means during the week I can be a little bit lazier. Future me is going to be thrilled. I fed my starter before I went to the store, but it's so cold in my house that it still wasn't active. That wasn't going to stop me from making a single batch of chocolate chip muffins. I mixed all the ingredients together, including the little bit of discard that I did have. I lined my muffin tins and then I got out my scooper. Yes, this is just an ice cream scoop, but man, has it made making things so much easier. You'll see that I've used this multiple times doing multiple different things in this video. My sister got it for her nesting party and I ordered mine as soon as I was going home. I got a 3-pack and it came with a teaspoon, a tablespoon, and a 2 tablespoon. And I also have these little tins from Amazon to make my muffins in. And the teaspoon is the perfect size every single time. So I make these muffins, I let them chill on the counter for a couple minutes, and then I put them in Ziploc bags and I freeze them for the week. Whenever my kids get hungry, they'll go and snack on them, even frozen. They love them frozen. But you can also heat them up for like 10 seconds. Let me tell you, they are delicious. Okay, so that's awesome because we filled one whole tray. Anytime I do a big cooking day like this, these chocolate chip muffins are always on the list. If you guys want the recipe, just let me know. Oh, and by the way, hi, I'm Britt. If you're new here, I am a mama to 4 crazy kids. I have 2 boys and 2 girls from 3 years old to 9 years old. I homeschool my kiddos. My oldest son races dirt bikes. I love to read and I love to garden. And I'm just trying to make our busy week feel a little bit simpler. So if that means that I'm going to be cooking all day Sunday so that Monday I can get up and not have to cook breakfast, I'm totally okay with that. I love making a bunch of food like this all at once. Because then there's some days that I just don't want to be in the kitchen. And that's okay. Like I said, my son races dirt bikes, so there's at least 2 days a week that we're not home because we're out at the track. Again, planning meals ahead makes it a lot easier. Content isn't always going to be cooking. I'm going to share moto life. I'm going to share my cleaning routine. I'm going to share homeschool. I'm going to share products that I love that are tried and true. I'm going to share the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm just going to show you what it takes to make my life feel a little bit more manageable every single day. You might come on and see a video one day that I'm blabbing on about a book that I just read. Because girl, I will give you all of the recommendations. And if you are not a reader, you could listen. Because these stories are good. I started reading when my youngest was about a year old. And immersing yourself in worlds that are not real, there's just something so magical about it. All right, now let's go back to the kitchen. Now I decided it was time to make some pancakes for breakfast. Pancakes are not my strong suit, but my kids love pancakes. I promise I'm going to figure them out. Chocolate chip banana muffins, brownies, English muffins, the egg sandwiches, chicken tenders, cookies, pancakes, chili. Man, that was definitely a lot that I had on my agenda for the day. But as you get to know me, you're going to know that I love making a list. Something about crossing stuff off just makes me feel so good. Some days I'll make a list and I'll add stuff that I already did just to cross it off. So into the pancakes we did flour, baking soda, baking powder, salt. We had butter, which I was melting on the stove. I try to avoid the microwave as much as I can. Obviously, there's some times that you can't, but I melted my butter on the stove. I just kept using the same pot for all of these recipes. So we did milk, eggs, butter. And I went to the store for milk because I absolutely didn't have enough. I was also trying to save my measuring cups. So here I used half a cup because in my first recipe, I only needed half a cup. That way I don't have to keep washing all day long. I just kind of like rinse it out and use it again for the next recipe, just like with the baking soda, baking powder, whatever it is. I have seen so many recipes that don't put vanilla in the pancakes, and I absolutely will never not put vanilla in my pancakes. Now when I say I can't do pancakes, I mean I always burn them in the pan. They have good flavor. I just always burn them. So as soon as I got the pancakes cooking, I started making my chocolate chip cookies. We melted the butter, which I did use the microwave for because I found that it gets it to the perfect consistency. And into my KitchenAid went my wet ingredients. Do you know that sugar is considered a wet ingredient? Because I didn't until my sister told me. So sugar, butter, eggs, all into the KitchenAid. At this point, my daughter decided it was time for her to come help. Almost everything I do, she wants to do it with me, and I love that. If I'm walking, she's walking. If I'm gardening, she's gardening. If I'm reading, she's reading a book, even if it's upside down. So I got the pancakes on the stove. I got the wet ingredients mixed together. It was time to mix our dry ingredients with my overflowing baking soda with my little sous chef who tried to fill the jar and went a little too crazy. Again, another tried and true recipe that we really like. I only did a single batch this time. Here's what you want it to look like as it's mixing the wet ingredients. I only did a single batch because I only had one extra bag of chocolate chips. Once you get your wet ingredients mixed, you slowly mix in your dry ingredients. And honestly, it really mixes together fairly quickly. You'll be able to tell when it's done when it looks like cookie dough. I know that sounds kind of silly. That's literally how it is. I wait till this is all mixed together and then I throw in my chocolate chips. This recipe calls for 2 cups of chocolate chips per batch, which thankfully is like exactly what we had. So into the trusty KitchenAid. Fun fact, this KitchenAid is older than my children. This is one of the first things I got after I got married. I got married when I was 19. I'm now 30. So this KitchenAid's about 11 years old. Chocolate chip muffins are done. Chocolate chip muffins. And that KitchenAid has moved a lot of times with us. So I got it when I lived in Watertown when we were stationed at Fort Drum. Then we moved it to Fort Riley in Kansas. And then we moved it back to Pennsylvania when my husband got stationed here to be a recruiter. For that pancake batter, I'm using my 2 tablespoon scooper. And it's making like perfect size pancakes for my kids. Next on the list was English muffins. You cannot find an English muffin at the store that isn't full of junk. I was kind of nervous. I didn't know if I was going to be able to handle this. But literally everybody was like, they're so easy. You got to warm up some milk. You add sugar to it. And then you add active dry yeast. And then you just let it sit there and get frothy. I think it took about 10 minutes. And that worked out in my favor because I was literally multitasking. Like so many different things were going on while it was getting activated. Because that's technically what's happening. The yeast is activating in the warm milk. I flipped pancakes and I bagged up all of the chocolate chip muffins that we had already finished. And then I got those in the freezer. Task 1 done. Again, something about finishing a task just feels so satisfying. At this time, the first round of pancakes came off too, and so my daughter served everybody a round of pancakes. And they were all telling me that they were so yummy, so that felt good too. I felt like a well-oiled machine at this point. Because as soon as I finished bagging up those muffins, the timer went off for how long it needed to activate the dry yeast. And so it was time to add the rest of the ingredients. Again, I was watching a recipe and following some video on how to make these. They were so easy. If you're thinking about doing it, you really should just give them a shot. The recipe does say that once you're done, you have to let it sit for about an hour. I threw it in my KitchenAid because it was just too hard to mix in the bowl. And once it was done, I threw it back into an oiled bowl, let it rise, and got started balling up my cookies. Okay, so wait, I messed up. I said with the pancakes, I was using the 2 tablespoons, but I was actually using the 1 tablespoon because here is the 2 tablespoons. And I was like, wow, these are big cookies. But I was committed and I wasn't going to go and change it. They're just going to be some big fluffy cookies. Again, because my goal was to really just cook for a week, this was definitely more than enough cookies. Something about being so busy made the time pass so fast. I was flipping the pancakes in between literally scooping or mixing something. I had to chill these cookies in the fridge for like probably about 30 minutes because the dough was just too warm and would get stuck in my little scooper. And when you chill the dough, it just works so perfectly. Do you see how easy they're just going in and coming out? If you do any type of cooking, I recommend the scooper. I never thought an ice cream scooper would be one of my favorite kitchen tools, but it is. And I love making my stuff from scratch at home because I know exactly what is in them. I know that my cookies have minimal ingredients. Pancakes, I know what's in them. When you go to the store and you look at the label, they're so long. I cannot stand that. I absolutely am a label reader on everything. I read the labels on clothes, on food. I'll even read it on like pots and pans. I don't want aluminum. If it's got a label, I'm reading it. My daughter came back to help make the rest of the cookies, and so as she walked in, I handed over the baton and let her finish up making those cookies. I love that she wants to help, and it just feels so invaluable to me. Here is what my English muffin dough looks like as it was rising. The kids were all full, so it was Mama's time to eat. Okay, we got all the cookies shaped. I'm gonna put these in the oven or the fridge to flash freeze, and then I'm gonna eat breakfast, and we'll continue to feed. Ooh, another thing checked off that list. Pancakes, chocolate chip muffins, and chocolate chip cookies were done. Next up is banana muffins. I got bananas, and they weren't super ripe. They were like ripe, but not like overripe. And I saw another creator saying that if you microwave them for like 30 seconds, it makes them like perfectly ready for banana bread. Guys, here's my husband. He recently changed his name to Joey. Okay, I'm kidding. His name is JT in my book. But now he goes by Joey at work. He's a Velcro husband. After I got all the bananas peeled, I tried to mash them with a fork, and I thought it would go a lot easier, and it wasn't. So I grabbed out my immersion blender. And let me tell you, thank God I did, because that took all of like 3 whole seconds to get these bananas mashed up. Just wait and see. Now, I don't know if keeping them a little bit less mushed would like give it a different texture, but I didn't think my kids would eat it if they were too, thick. My sister said to me that like fruit muffins always have less sugar. There was more sugar in these banana muffin recipes than in my chocolate chip cookie recipes. Now, yes, I know there's not like chocolate chips, but still. There was almost like double the amount of sugar in this. And there was no sourdough. I wonder if I could find a sourdough recipe. That sounds like they would be so delicious. But I mean, ready? This is me telling you, look, sugar. How much sugar is that? We love muffins, and like I said, later me is gonna love this when my kids get hungry after a meal, in between meals, and they're like, Mommy, I need a snack. I'm so hungry. Because I don't know about your kids. My kids are hungry like 24/7. Having muffins on hand makes that so much easier. Will they probably eat through all of these muffins by the end of the week? Yeah, probably. That just means I'll have to make a bigger batch next week. Next week, I'm going to try and see if I can make a batch big enough to last me like 2 weeks. So that like way on Sunday, I can, instead of doing all of this, maybe I can do muffins like twice a month, chicken twice a month, like something like that, if that makes sense. I really want to build up like my refrigerator and freezer stack, whatever it is. I want freezer meals. I want to have muffins. I want to have lunches, even dinners. So like I said, maybe next week I will make a triple batch of chocolate chip muffins and throw some in the deep freezer. We'll just have to hide those from me because I really like the chocolate chip muffins. Those might be my favorite. This bowl was literally full to the tippity top. I'm going to have to get a bigger bowl. We're not going to be making triple batches of them. I'm going to add my LTK so that if you guys want any of the products that I do have available, you guys can get them. Y'all, look at all the pancakes that were left. That's it. I think next weekend I want to do French toast too. I know I don't show it often, but I was cleaning in between every little thing that I was getting done. And I don't count muffins done as like checked off the list until the last one comes out of the oven. And this banana recipe, this made a lot. This like single batch was like double what my chocolate chip muffin recipe was. Some of them I put chocolate chips on the top of. And shockingly enough, my kids prefer them without the chocolate. I have kids who don't even like bananas who are eating these. My oldest son is beyond picky. He doesn't like fruit. He doesn't like vegetables. And he loves banana bread. So these are a win because he thinks he's eating a dessert, not a banana. Also, I need to apologize for the terrible angle. My kids broke my tripod, so I need to get a new one. I put these in at 350 for roughly 15 minutes. They came out perfect. I have a lot of stuff in my garden that I'm hoping grows, and I want to be doing more preserving and making more videos like this showing just random stuff that I will be doing. I'm hoping that my tomatoes do well and that we'll be able to can a bunch of tomato sauce, ketchup, tomato paste, a bunch of stuff like that. My next idea was that we were going to make sweet potato brownies. So what I did was I took my sweet potatoes, I washed them, poked a bunch of holes into them, and then I rubbed olive oil on them. Like literally did the exact same thing to all of them. And then I just threw them in the oven. I put them in the oven with everything else that was cooking. So they were on 350. And I baked them for about an hour. Yeah, a long time. But they just sat there cooking while I literally did everything else. I love sweet potatoes. I'll go like 6 months without eating them, and then I want them every single day. I am using this organic olive oil from Costco. Next, I cracked a lot of eggs into this huge bowl because I was starting on making the eggs for our egg sandwiches that I was making. I only have 3 chickens, so I don't have enough like homegrown eggs. So I went through and I cracked all of the store-bought eggs, and then I started cracking my eggs into this cup. I did that because sometimes you get a really yucky one, the one I just had, and then I could throw it away, wash the cup, and then go back to what I was doing without having to throw away like all the eggs. Here I had my little helper put the cottage cheese into my eggs, and she's over here like, Mom, this is too much. Do you want more? And I'm like, yeah, put more, put more. As I'm putting in my salt, pepper, garlic, all the things that I wanted as seasonings, I look over and I'm like, man, that's really not that much cottage cheese for how many eggs we put in. And I was like, go put more. So I walk over and I'm like this. And I dump a whole bunch in, and she's like, oh, wow. And then we go back to my immersion blender because, man, this thing just makes mixing everything easier. And of course, she had to jump in. It's pretty fun to use that thing, not gonna lie. And then I'm trying to use parchment paper to try and not have to scrub this whole thing and not have the eggs stick. I've done it in the past and the eggs really get stuck. I was going to do 2 trays to see if I would make more eggs, but then I thought it would be too thin. So I just decided to dump the whole thing onto this tray. Honestly, I just stuck them in the oven. I didn't set a timer. Not using a timer for anything I was making this day, except for the stuff that was like needing to rise for like an hour. That is the only timer I set. The other things I just kind of let go and let God. As soon as I got done with the eggs, I realized that the English muffins were done rising. And so we started shaping them, and I didn't have a cutter, so I just used the top of a mason jar, like the lid. And honestly, it worked pretty good. I'll probably invest in something a little different just to make it easier so that my daughter can actually help, because she couldn't like really push it through. And I was like, oh my God, I can't tell if these are too thin. And then I thought they needed to be a lot thicker because I was like, wow, these are really thin. I didn't equate for the time in my brain that they had to rise for an additional 30 minutes. So here I am. I'm like, let's make them thicker. We roll this dough back out because once we got enough like holes, you stretch the dough back out, then you cut more. So I'm stretching it back out, and I'm like, let's leave it thicker. We'll make them thicker, whatever. Well, they rose, and then when they're baking, they also puff up a bit. So some of my English muffins were so thick. It's definitely a learning curve. It's at 1 inch, and I'm like, I don't know how thick 1 inch is. Not like, I just could not picture it. So again, like I said, this was my first time. So we've just finished cutting them all. And then you have to like lay a piece of like plastic wrap over them. I don't love using plastic wrap, so I will try to find like a different way to do it next time. But I wanted to follow the recipe like as close as I could because this is the first time and I wanted to see like where I could like not mess up. I also did double this batch so that it would make a bunch because I wanted to make enough sandwiches for like everybody for the whole week. As I was doing this, the dough was getting like more and more tense. I literally could not get it to stretch out. I felt like I was getting a workout and just trying to get it to like stretch out, but we did make it work. Okay, so I know that I mentioned I wasn't using any timers. So as I was doing this, I decided to poke my like head into the oven and see like if anything was done, which thank God I did because the banana bread, like muffins, whatever, those were done and needed to come out like ASAP. The sweet potatoes were nowhere near done. And the eggs could definitely go for a couple more minutes. They weren't burned, but the banana bread, thank God I got it out. As soon as I was done like cutting all of these English muffins out, what I did next was I took all the hot like banana muffins out of the tray. I set those on the counter and then I threw in what I had left like to fill up the banana muffins. It was like a tray and a half, but that was technically done. Those went in the oven. So once I got these into the oven, I took a bag and I bagged up all of the muffins that were done. And I got those right into the freezer. I don't know if it's because it's cold. It's hot outside, but my kids think they're like a little refreshing treat when they eat the cold muffins. I love when days flow like this. Like it felt like I would finish one thing and I had to do the next thing. It was like boom, boom, boom. I have ADD, and so this is like how my brain works. My husband's like, you have 800 tasks going. And I'm like, yes, this is what I need to do. Because like in the 30 minutes while the English muffins need to rise, I was able to get more muffins into the tins, these muffins into the freezer. I was able to tidy up dishes, get the dishwasher loaded. And like I had to take the chocolate chip cookies and I had to put them in the freezer to flash freeze once they were shaped. And so once I put these muffins in, I was like, oh, I got to do the cookies. And it was just like, boom, another thing that I got to get done. And I still was able to get all of that done in the time that the English muffins were doing their like final rise. Yeah, changed my mind. These chocolate chip cookies just look so perfect. I was able to fill one full bag like completely, and then it was like half of another bag. We actually had a cookie tonight and they were so good. After I got the cookies in, I decided it was time to work on what's going to be our lunch for the next couple days, however long it lasts us. I saw Becky from Acre Homestead make chicken cutlets. She sliced them nice and thin. She double breaded them. She used Parmesan, but I didn't do that. And then she flash froze them and then used them in like freezer meals or whatever. She said that all she had to do was air fry them for 15 minutes, and that is exactly what I did. Let me tell you, this is the most delicious thing and easiest lunch ever. Goodbye chicken nuggets. Not only is this absolutely yummier, but it's so much more cost effective. So I sliced my chicken in half. I got all the ingredients set up. And then I was doing it and my fingers were getting so gross. And I was like, wait, I got something for that. I saw a different Becky. Becky from the Seasonal Homestead was using these cute little tongs. So I got me a pair, and let me tell you, wow, does this make a world of a difference. We just got the last of the banana muffins out. The eggs just came out for our egg muffins. So at this point, we have chocolate chip muffins done, chocolate chip cookies done, banana muffins done, and the 30-minute rise for my English muffins is done. So you let a skillet like get hot, and then you put 4 muffins in and cover it. I think it said to put the temperature too high because my first round burnt. My father-in-law gave me 2 gigantic zucchinis, so we're gonna shred them, and then we're gonna freeze them. So the English muffins have to cook for like 5 minutes aside. So while I was doing like a batch of the muffins, I decided I was going to go ahead and get this task done. I just wanted to shred them and throw them right in the freezer. That way I can throw them in like sauces later or whatever. If I need them smaller, I can always use my like immersion blender and just really chop them up. But I feel like this is a good size for like putting them in like soups and sauces. Here comes my little helper again. He wanted to help, and how cute is he? So as I was shredding, a couple more finished, and I am just throwing English muffins in, shredding, and going back and forth. Again, some days my multitasking skills are like so impressive. And after I burnt the first batch of English muffins, the second bunch came out so freaking good. I literally was so genuinely shocked with how delicious these were. So I kept going. Like I said, they take like 5 minutes aside, so it is quite time consuming. I finished shredding up my zucchini and I moved on to making my sweet potato brownies. The recipe for the brownies is super easy. It's literally 1 sweet potato, some flour, cocoa powder. Why can't I say that today? Salt, a little bit of baking soda. And again, I have to keep flipping these. As I'm taking them off, I literally just keep adding on more because I think it made about 29 or 30.
These are my English muffins.
My littlest one has been begging me for chili for like a whole week. So this was finally the day we were going to do that for him. I had 2 pounds of ground beef. Mine were frozen, but that's fine. I just threw them into brown while I chopped up my veggies. Okay, so I've got my ground beef in here. I chopped an onion and a pepper. I'm not going to do too crazy because it is only 1 pound. And we got Letty mixed up all of the brownie mix. So now we're going to stick it in this pan. While I was chopping up the beef, Letty opened up all of the cans of beans, all of the tomatoes, and the tomato paste. I added in my veggies and all of the cans. And at this point, my sourdough was exploding. Did you see how good those brownies looked?
See, it just peels
After I was done doing all of that, I decided I was just going to peel these sweet potatoes and turn it into a sweet potato mash for the week. I finished chopping up the chili and got that all mixed together. Okay, we have seriously put in the work in this kitchen. It is a mess in here. It really is. There's stuff everywhere. We have 5 English muffins left. I think I'm going to start cutting them because I really want to assemble them. So I'm going to clear off this spot. I didn't really show it, but I did do a lot of tidying as I was going. I got the dishwasher loaded and I got most of the counters wiped off. But right as I thought I was done, I realized that the eggs were all done, the English muffins were all done, and I needed to assemble these sandwiches. Because if I didn't, I'd have to come back inside, and I just feel like that task is not done until it's completely done. I feel like these English muffins came out exactly perfect. They looked exactly like I thought they were gonna. They're fluffy and they're delicious. So I cut them all up, and then I cut my eggs up. Here was my burnt one. I gave that one to the chickens. And I got Amy Lou's sausage from Costco. It comes in like a 25 count. I made so many English muffins that I was able to save a couple extra for my husband. He doesn't usually eat breakfast, so this was really just for me and the kids for like convenience. If we don't eat them, they'll be good in the freezer, but I feel like we'll probably use most of them because my kids think they're so yummy. So I chopped up the eggs into like little tiny pieces, put one on each English muffin. We actually have a couple left, so those will probably just go in the fridge in case somebody wants to like throw it on a piece of toast or whatever. Sausages, there's no celery powder in them. These are like actually something I feel like you can trust. There's 25 in here. When I got these, I froze them because I wasn't sure when I'd get to cooking them. I mean, like assembling these sandwiches. And honestly, they popped apart pretty easily. And I have this like little butcher paper. I wrapped each sandwich separately. And then I put 8 sandwiches in each bag. Some have cheese, some don't. My kids some days want cheese, some days they don't. Honestly, the sausages are like the perfect size for the English muffin that I made. These are game changers. So I pull them all apart and then I lay them out on a cookie sheet. I leave the English muffins out until the eggs and the sausage are cooked, and then I add them in. 25 breakfast sandwiches. Even the chili is pretty much done. I just gotta throw some seasonings in here. I'm gonna turn this down to a very low simmer, and it's just gonna marry. So here's all of our breakfast sandwiches. My cookies are down here. This is all of the muffins we made. Chicken, I'm about to bag this up. The vegetables, these are all the vegetables that we cut up. So apparently we used all of the bags, like literally all of them. So that's awesome, but I'm gonna just put a piece of this paper in. I'm gonna put it in like layers.
Yeah.
So that like I can then put it on top. Oh, I'm good right now. Thank you. You're such a little angel.
With the ketchup, even better. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. That's what mommy likes to hear. This is gonna be just a good amount of chicken for me and the kids. Instead of doing like chicken nuggets, which literally are all like breading and not worth it. This is gonna be.
I think you're gonna need one more.
And then I'm just gonna literally put this in here with the lid on the top in the freezer. And this is my lunch for the week with those sweet potatoes. That's it. That was so easy. Okay. Brownies are out and they look so good. I can't wait to try these later. These are gonna sit and cool off. I'm taking ice pops out to the kids who are already outside with dad. Chili's gonna cook on the stove and we are done cooking for now. I will see you guys real soon. Make sure you guys hit that follow button for another chaotic Sunday cook with me. I'm gonna be doing a deep clean tomorrow. So make sure you guys are following along and I'll see y'all real soon.